We had some technical difficulties with the video last week of our Shabbat services, and therefore I'm going to give you a version of the sermon I gave for Shabbat Matot-Masei. A few weeks ago, the IRS decided to change a rule, and now religious institutions, churches, synagogues, temples, mosques can now endorse candidates from the pulpit. In the 1950s, it was decided that endorsing candidates could put your tax-exempt status in trouble, and it could be taken away. And that's been the custom for a long time in America. But now the IRS says that we can endorse candidates, and they said it's like being in a religious organization. It's like a family discussion around the table. That got me thinking, well, is this a good idea? Should a synagogue get involved in politics like that? So let's look at words of wisdom from our Haftarah, one of the Haftarot leading up to Tisha B'Av, the day that we commemorate the destruction and exile of our people from the land of Israel, and the first temple, also the second temple. It commemorates other calamities of the Jewish people. And we read in the Haftarah from the words of the prophet Jeremiah, Shimu Devar Adonai Beit Yaakov v'chol mishpachot Beit Yisrael. Hear the word of the Eternal One, O a house of Jacob, every clan of the house of Israel. Thus says the Eternal One, what wrong did your ancestors find in me, that they abandoned me and went after delusion and were deluded? Here the prophet is probably talking about idolatry. Why did your ancestors turn away from me, from God? I brought you to this country of farmland to enjoy its fruits and its bounty, but you came and defiled my land. You made my possession abhorrent. And then the prophet says, HaKohanim lo amru Ayeh Adonai. The priests never asked themselves, where is the Eternal One? The guardians of the Torah ignored me. The rulers rebelled against me. And the prophets prophesied by Baal and followed what can do no good. Is the prophet here being political? He's calling out the priests, the religious rulers, those who run the temple, who bring in the tithes, the guardians of the Torah, the teachers, the judges, the rulers. The word here uses the shepherds, but he's talking, I think, about the kings, the political leaders, the quote, secular leaders, and even the prophets. Those, his own colleagues, have turned on the wrong path. Oh, I will go on accusing you, declares the Eternal One, and I will accuse your children's children. And Jeremiah even talks about international relations. Ve'atam alcha l'derech Mitzrayim. What then is the good of your going to Egypt to drink the waters of the Nile? And what is the good of you going to Assyria to drink the waters of the Euphrates? The prophet is being political, calling out the community and its leaders. Because what is politics? Politics is the negotiation of people of how to live together in a community. The leaders, the people, different interests. Think about our synagogue. There are politics in the synagogue. The board has interests, the president has interests, the rabbi has interests, the employees have interests, individual members have interests, but we all come together in a community and figure that out. Hopefully in a non-hierarchical or non-dictatorial way, but that's politics. Negotiating how to live together. And here's the prophet calling out the people who are not doing that well. But being a Jew, being a part of a religious community, if we have internal politics here, we also have something to say about community outside of our walls. If living as a Jew in our community here has nothing to do with how you live in our community here in Morris County, in our community in New Jersey, in our community in America, then I don't know what it's for. Because we as modern Jews are not living in sealed off communities. Our Jewish tradition, how we live our politics here, has something to say as how we live out there, and maybe even something to say to other people. That's politics. That's political. Now, what's wrong with our politics today is that we Americans don't know how to talk to each other, talk to people who disagree with us, and then negotiate those differences so that we can live together. In a few days is Tisha B'Av, the day where we commemorate our ancient ancestors' politics falling apart, which led to destruction. Our rabbis say the Second Temple of Jerusalem, our people in the land of Israel in the year 70 CE were led into exile because of baseless hatred. In other words, politics falling apart. People not being able to create a community together. You know, it's interesting. I've been reading sermons from our Rabbi Emeritus before Rabbi Rossoff, Rabbi Z. David Levy, and he's talking about similar things in the late 60s and early 70s. Polarization within the Jewish community and outside the Jewish community. Political things. Now, often, not all the time, but sometimes congregants will come up to me and say, Rabbi, you're being too political. And that often means, Rabbi, you said something I disagree with. That's okay. It's okay to disagree with me. Because we can read our tradition in different ways. Jewish tradition does not say the Democrats are right or the Republicans are right. Jewish tradition gives us values and gives us a way of negotiating those values within a community. You may disagree with me. I may change my mind sometimes because of that disagreement. That's what our community is about, discussing these disagreements. They are political, but they're different from being partisan. I am not going to endorse candidates from the Bima. I will speak my views from time to time about what is happening outside of our walls, what's happening inside of our walls. But things that I say about immigration, about healthcare, about things that Jewish wisdom speaks about are political. But it does not, our tradition does not say who to definitely vote for. It just gives us the tools to think about that, to negotiate that within ourselves too, to do the inner politics of how to make the right decisions in the world. I pray that our politics here within Temple B'nai Or are not destructive, are good conversations, so that we can be models of good conversations outside of the walls of Temple B'nai Or. It is political, but I pray that it's not destructive.